Ready, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. We'll go ahead and call this East Peoria City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Here.
Hill?
Here.
Mingus?
Here.
Sutherland?
Here.
Mayor Call?
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please rise for the invocation. Remain standing for the pledge.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and every day that you give us. We come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. We help us engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approve of the minutes, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the minutes of the regular meeting held on May 21st, 2024, and the minutes of the special meeting for a working session held on May 21st, 2024 be approved as printed.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Any discussion? I'm hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carries. Communications, I do have one proclamation this evening. Whereas each June, our nation lifts its sights to the flag that has watched over us since the days of our founding. In those broad stripes and bright stars, we see the arc of the American story, from a handful of colonies to 50 states, united and free. And whereas when proud patriots took up the fight for independence, they came together under a standard that showed their common cause. When the wounds of a civil war were still fresh and our country walked the long road to Reconstruction, our people found hope in a banner that testified to the strength of our Union. Wherever our American journey has taken us, whether on that unending path to the mountaintop or high above into the reaches of space, Old Glory has followed, reminding us of the rights and responsibilities we share as citizens. And whereas we celebrate that legacy, and we honor the brave men and women who have secured it through centuries of service at home and abroad, let us raise our flags high, from small-town storefronts to duty stations stretched around the globe, and let us look to them once more as we press on in the march toward a more perfect union. And whereas to commemorate the adoption of our flag, the Congress, by joint resolution, approved August 3rd, 1940, recognized June 14th, 2024, as Flag Day in the city of East Peoria, and the week beginning June 11, 2024, as National Flag Week, and urge all citizens to observe Flag Day by displaying the flag of the United States of America. And I couldn't be more proud to fly mine every day. Okay, public comment. Anyone wish to address the council on an agenda item, please come forward. Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Richard Chisholm. My wife and I live in 102 Vanocton Court, here for the second reading for our accessory structure. I've already submitted for 3 proposals for some arborvitae trees. Looks like it'd be a total of 7. I submitted to you kind of a location of where they would be, general. They'd be spaced between 4 and 6 feet apart, so they'd be obscure the view of the structure from Highland Road. I've also already procured the same color 4x8 sheets of the LP siding to then rip down to create a skirting, so it'll be a cohesive look for the bottom part of the trim, which will hide everything for those 4x4 runners.
Very good. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate your cooperation. Anyone else wish to address the council on an agenda item? I'm seeing no one. Commissioner Hill, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a consent agenda consisting of items numbered 1 through 7. Item number 1, adoption of resolution number 2425-017, resolution to approve payment of scheduled bills listed on schedule number 2 in the amount of $1,687,965.92. Item number 2, adoption of ordinance number 4799 on its second reading, an ordinance authorizing a special use for keeping of chickens on property located at 229 Newman Lane in the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois. Item number 3, adoption of resolution number 2425-011 on its second reading. Resolution accepting pre-audit services proposal for assisting with preparations for the city's annual financial audits for the 2024 fiscal year ending April 30th, 2024. Item number 4, adoption of resolution number 2425-008 on second reading. Resolution approving an agreement with IDOT for traffic signal cabinet improvement projects for the Illinois Route 116 Main Street / I-74 intersection and the Camp Street / I-74 flyover ramp intersection. Item number 5, adoption of resolution number 2425-013 on second reading. Resolution approving lowest responsible bid for the East Washington Street ADA ramps and sidewalks improvement project for Mall Street, Anna Street, and the Springfield Road intersections. Item number 6, adoption of resolution number 2425-012 on second reading. Resolution approving Third Amendment to Master Service Agreement with 4 water main installation services during 2024 to 2025 fiscal year. Item number 7, adoption of resolution number 2425-010 on second reading. Resolution authorizing a contribution to Peoria Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, Discover Peoria, as listed on the agenda for this meeting to be considered by omnibus vote.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Decker,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that items numbered 1 through 7 listed on the consent agenda be hereby approved and adopted, and items numbered 2 through 7, having been read once by their title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mangus. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I have a few items tonight. Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4798 here to attach an ordinance authorizing a special use for an accessory structure on property located at 102 Vanaken Court in the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Well, we've already heard from Mr. Chisholm as far as the details that were related to what the zoning board, in this case, again, this is the second reading, so the zoning board of appeals had made a recommendation and it came to us at our last meeting. And some of the constraints were that, I step back a little bit, the conditions or the criteria for this house is that the Chisholms here are like many people have a corner lot, and they're considered to have multiple front yards. And so they have setbacks accordingly on 2 sides of their house. And so for all the years that I've been connected with the ZBA, it's very, I was going to say it's not uncommon, but it's very common, and precedent has been set where consideration is given to a homeowner that has a corner lot when they're trying to locate whether it's a shed or a pool. You guys may remember that, it comes across and it sounds very odd that, a pool in the front yard. Well, it's not really in the front yard, but because of their dual setbacks, it's considered a front yard. So the ZBA looked at this property, looked at the shed in question, and looked at the surroundings and made a recommendation that it could be placed next to adjacent to the existing garage, I believe, or at least it's adjacent to the house. But the big thing that there had to be screening on the east and south ends. And so, as Mr. Chisholm was already mentioned, he gave us a little diagram here or map here showing aerial view where the arborvitaes, I believe, are going to be placed. And so that's what's in front of us tonight, and that's it.
Very good. I'll open it for any discussion.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to, I voted no on this last time, but I'm going to support it tonight. And I wasn't against the project necessarily, but anything that is, I guess, not usual on this is not Mr. Chisholm's fault. This was, there are a couple of mistakes made, but that's okay. I was supportive of if we weren't going to allow that to for us to be part of the remedy to fix it. Having said that, I took a lot of time this week thinking about it, driving by it, looking at it, and then realized that if we would have followed code the other way, I guess, I looked at the impact that would have had, and I like it better the way that it is. And I think that there would have been quite a few more complaints if it would have been placed back behind the residents. And one thing that struck me was not to discount it at all, but the complaints did not come from people who live on Highview, right out in front of it. It was back on Star Rim, which is okay. It's just I would expect that if we were going to require it in the backyard, that would probably cause more complaints from the people that live right around it, seeing it all the time. So I don't think there's a perfect solution here, but I am going to support this because I think it's the best solution that's in front of us.
Very good, Commissioner. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
No.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
I have 4 ayes and 1 no, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4800, here to attach an ordinance amending zoning regulations in Title V of the East Peoria City Code for permitted uses allowed in M2 Manufacturing District General, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
As we talked about at the last meeting, that we're calling it cleanup in the code, and it really went down to I'll say one word being put in what we had as existing ordinance, and it listed specifically what was it? Cement. It mentioned cement, and this ordinance was the one word being added to make it consistent and clarify it beyond question, was to add the word concrete. And so that's what's in front of us tonight. It's the same thing we talked about last week. It's an M2 usage of the wording being added in concrete, which was in the M2 district. So that's it.
Yeah, and I just, real quick before we open it up for council discussion, Ty, do you want to chime in? And I know a couple of concerns that were brought up. One, I think I'll address in my comments, which was the lawsuit, so we don't need to go down that road. But it was said that there are other businesses that, would fall under this. And I know you did some research, so I want to at least give you an opportunity to share with the council what you've uncovered as far as businesses, whether they're active or inactive, grandfathered
Sure.
or not grandfathered.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we did take a look at those sites that were identified. The one north of 24, I've had a conversation with the property owner who indicated that he did have a device on site related to their fill operation over the winter for a couple of months. It is no longer on site. He indicated that they don't have any further activity plan there, and I told him, I said, this is likely something we're going to need to talk about if you bring it back again. But he's certainly aware of that, and that was the one case we could identify. The larger industrial user, I've had contact with some representatives, but there's not one person that necessarily is involved in all pieces, but I haven't been able to confirm any ongoing activity at the moment. Not saying that there isn't, it's just something we need to ferret out. There's a couple of other locations that are outside of the city's purview, outside the city limits.
Correct, yeah, a couple of those. I just wanted to point out as a matter of record, they actually fell within county, not city limits. So, but I'm willing to have a conversation here, open it up for some discussion. Anyone? I just want to make one point, because I did share with the commissioners individually, and I don't know how much I elaborated on it, and I really don't care to discuss lawsuits, but they were seeking a specific person be grandfathered in. And I'll tell you why I absolutely oppose that. And I think, first of all, for 9 years being elected up here, I've treated everybody the same, and I feel very fairly about that. And everybody needs to be held accountable and treated the same, in the same manner. That gentleman sued the city. The city didn't sue that gentleman. And that gentleman lost. And there's a court order signifying he lost. No way would I sit up here as a mayor and support grandfathering that gentleman in when he sued the city and lost. It makes no sense to me that we didn't ask for the lawsuit. At the end of the day, we spent legal fees going to court in which the city prevailed. And personally, I don't support grandfathering any individual in there, and he can go through the same process if he so chooses down the road that every other Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to be required to go through from this point forward. So for that reason, I will continue again to support this change. But any other discussion, anyone?
No, I pretty
Okay.
much said everything I
Okay.
had to say last meeting.
Very good. All right, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
No.
Sutherland?
No.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
I have 3 ayes and 2 noes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-015 hereto attached. Resolution accepting lowest responsible bidder for yard maintenance contract services from Jimax Landscaping LLC be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-015 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Mingus?
All right, let me get here caught up. We have an outside service, as mentioned here, and it was previously, I believe, it was Jimax, but we have a contract, and it's usually a couple-year contract with a year possible extension, and then we go out for bid. And in this particular case, this is to cover 2 things, really, our yard maintenance well, at least 2 things were covered in this, yard maintenance and our emergency board up. And so the Jimax was the lowest responsible bid. Again, we call them in the cases where our own residents don't maintain their yard, and we go through a process, and the yard probably gets even taller and longer by the time we get to it. So this quote, if you looked at it in detail, Jimax quoted like $125, and I'm not going to give you every number, but about $125 for standard lot with a house with 10 to 12 inches of grass. And then in the quotes, there were different prices, or there were different prices for different lengths of grass on that same lot. So obviously, as it got longer, it could get higher. Well, Jimax had 125 for all grass heights up under 25 inches. So, again, pretty high. Where the other bidder, which was Classy Grass of Illinois, they had 125 for 10 to 12 inches, but their cost went up to 200 for 13 to 15 inches of grass, and it went up. So in comparison, again, Jimax, the emergency board up, which again, we have those periodically, not real often, but the Jimax quote was at $9.24 a square foot for the area, and the Classy Grass was $25. So this is a service that we make use of when we need to, whether it's boarding up, because the house has become, usually if we're boarding it up, it's either fire and or more rare occasion, it's become unfit for human habitation. We may board something up. So it's a needed service, and Jimax, not only were they the most lowest responsible, but they've been a good partner in the previous years.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, that completes it for me tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Decker?
I've got nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Sutherland?
I have nothing also tonight, Your Honor.
Very good. Commissioner Mingus?
One item tonight, Your Honor. Resolution number 2425-016. Be resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-016 hereto attached, a resolution approving the purchase of 3 new 2025 Ford Interceptor utility vehicles for the Police Department from Sutton Ford, Inc., and approving the outfitting of the vehicles be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-016 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
I have a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. This is pretty much exactly as it says, purchasing 3 new vehicles for the police department. The total for the vehicle and the upfitting of the vehicle is $65,393 per vehicle. So the total of this is $197,949. This is budgeted in our capital plan for the year. This is budgeted. And so something we do every year is purchase new police cars.
And unfortunately, just like everything else, the cost has gone up substantially. And just to bring the council up to speed, we're still waiting on 3, I believe, that we purchased last year. So that goes to show you, as we think we're staying ahead of the game, we're actually just trying to do our best to keep up versus staying ahead. But yeah.
It's nice to not see the Impalas out there.
I know. Yeah, we finally cycled
Chief
through
probably
those, thankfully. Yeah.
Oh, we did get through all those?
Huh?
We did get through all
Oh,
those?
yeah. No, we got through all of those. So, any discussion?
Will it be a long delay for these, or does
I'm
it
not
sound
sure.
like they all
Chief,
may
you want to
come?
step up? Maybe you can brief them on.
Because we were getting
what
pretty
you've
low,
learned?
weren't we? Were we
Yeah.
getting low on
Well, we
vehicles?
had a few that were
Right.
wrecked, not
Yeah.
our
I
fault.
saw
but,
we
yeah.
bought a truck at one point,
Yeah,
which
we
is
had a truck.
operational.
Mhm.
Correct. I mean, Chief.
Yeah, so we're still waiting on the 3, and then these, they won't even give us a turnaround time
Okay.
on how much these are going to take. These, we did switch upfitting outfits this year. This will be new for us. We're going to Federal Signal, which is up in University Park out of Illinois. It's close to where Sutton Ford is. They actually make a lot of the products that we put on the cars. So that is something new that we've done this year that we haven't done in the past. So maybe a little quicker turnaround in that aspect, because it'll go, Ford will put some of the equipment on the assembly line, and then they'll move directly just literally down the street and get the rest of it outfitted, which that part I think will be quicker this time go around.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Chief. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carries.
That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Public comment. Anyone wish to address the council on a non-agenda item?
I do.
Yep. Step on up, Bob.
Every time I come here, I complain a lot, okay? And I got a few tonight. I'm not trying to get around it. But I do want to take, and I should have done this a long time ago, but I'm bullheaded. I want to thank all of you for what you do. I don't agree with everything you do, but I want to thank you for taking the time out of from your family and everything else you do and do this, okay? Now, about this complaint. You know, I've lived in this town in and out over 80 years. And this Saturday will be 3 weeks since I was panhandled for the first time in the city of East Peoria ever. But I will say one thing for the gentleman. I mean, he may have been down and out, but damn it, he was trying to make himself a job. And I don't agree with it. I'd rather it didn't happen. I'm not bad-mouthing anybody that gets in that position. I've been there, done that a few times myself when I was younger, so I understand. Okay, enough said on that. At the same time, 3 weeks ago, only it was on a Friday night, went to bed, got up Saturday morning, and Donna says to me, she says, Bob, were them 3 mattresses in the alley last night when we went to bed? And I said, what 3 mattresses? So I walked out back towards the property line. Sure enough, 3 mattresses piled right in the middle of the alley. So she said, well, what should we do? And I says, we're just going to leave them. I said, I was told once that is not the city's responsibility to pick up tires or pick up anything that's been dumped, okay? And if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. We'll just have to live with it. But if this is what goes along with economic development, we had a hell of a lot nicer town 50 years ago. We didn't have all this. But that's water under the bridge. Time marches on, blah, blah, blah. And there was something else, but I guess that's enough for tonight. I mean, I just wanted you to know the dumping was going on. And there's refrigerators, televisions, chest of drawers, dressers. Just drive around town. They're sitting alongside the road, and some are tore apart. Well, all the refrigerators that I've seen were tore apart. The doors were off. It was safety-wise that way. But I don't know, and I know I'm asking, I've done this before, but don't you have some godforsaken, out-of-the-way place that belongs to the city that people that want to can haul, like yard waste and all of that kind of stuff,
We do not.
to get rid of it?
Yeah.
Because the first thing you know, I mean, just take for instance, I was against it and I admit it. This project we got going over here with what, 300 units or something?
219, yes.
Okay, 200 units, and say, what, 2 to 4 people in each one?
Yeah, I think they're estimating maybe 300 residents altogether.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then you got the one going down by the river, unless they've called it off down there by, what is that?
That's going to be a
Granite City?
hotel. It's going to be a hotel.
Yeah,
Oh,
that develop-
okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry.
No, that,
Yeah.
But,
you were
you know,
right. There was
uh,
one.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
We had a development agreement for one, but then it didn't work out.
Okay. I mean, whatever, and somewhere down the line, of course, I'll be ashes by then, but you guys, maybe not you, not this council, but somebody's gonna have to come up with some way to do something. And a lot of these, well, just as a for instance, I had more mice get in my house this year than I have ever had. And there's crap sitting all over town, and it's got to contribute some. I'm not blaming it all on that.
Here's what I'll tell you, Bob. I think you're barking up the wrong tree on the economic development. How can you blame someone that's not even here?
Well, I know.
Here's what I'll tell you. It comes down to personal responsibility, and there's a lot of people in this world today that absolutely lack it, and they don't feel like they have a responsibility to themselves or anyone else. And it's frustrating. If there's one thing that's bugged me about this community, it's the amount of litter, it's the amount of people that have to be told to cut their grass. Why should you be told you have to cut your grass? How about having a little pride? But I can tell you, there's been long-standing issues with people dumping in corporate limits. And unfortunately, we just don't have city property, which is your property and my property. It's public property.
Yeah,
where we can just go pick stuff up and have a dumping ground.
Yeah.
People need to own their own actions and have a little pride in our community. Don't dump it. There's places that accept that stuff, but that's their responsibility to get it from their house to wherever it's dumped.
I won't argue
Yeah.
that point with you.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if we don't do something, we're gonna have landfills just like way, way back yonder when Fay Hollow was one of them. Coal Hollow was one of them. You could go down through there. You could stop and look them over. Well, there's 2 tires that's better than 2 I got, so you just pick them up and put them on your old jalopy and give the others back. Was it right? I'm not saying it was right,
Yeah.
but it happened. And as population increases and you got more people that's irresponsible, why should everybody else in town have to pay? And I know you only get a small percentage of tax, but somebody is going to have to, well, no, they don't have to. I take that all back. Somebody should have to have some kind of 2 or 3 pickups, or I don't know what, the answer is a stinker, whatever it is.
Well, the answer is the people that are doing it shouldn't be doing it.
I
They need
agree,
to
but how are you going to change them?
Well, if they're caught in the act, then, you fine them accordingly and treat them as you should.
Bob, I want to tell you a short story, and it summarizes everything that I feel about it. I own some property on Cole Street, and I've owned it for, I don't know, 25 years now. And I've been picking up tires and parts of stuff for 25 years, but it's been pretty bad since COVID. I gathered up 140-some tires and made a pile, and I got a ticket from the county for making a pile of 140-some tires that was dumped off on their road and my property from strangers. There is no good answer. There isn't, other than cameras and responsibility. You see something, you say something. And I hate to sound like that because it goes against some of the grain in my body. But if you see something, you say something with somebody illegally dumping, and they'll only do it once or twice in their life. And if you picking up along the highway some paper and stay out of jail, that's how it's going to have to be. That's the only way they're going to learn.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
By the way, is there going to be sidewalk from Muller Road to East Washington Street?
No.
No?
You mean Springfield Road?
Or Springfield Road?
No, sir. No.
Well, the reason I asked, Saturday was kind of late, and I didn't figure nobody'd be working, so Donna and I took a trip down there, and so I told her, I says, I definitely must have understood what was going to go on up here from what I seen, because I've seen pieces where they had patched in new curb and gutter and different things, you know. And I was under the impression they was going to put new curb and gutter and sidewalks and where the people could get on and off. But
No, it'll still have the extra wide lanes, and there's going to be like a bike pedestrian lane on the side of each shoulder, no different than it was back in the... People tend to forget what it looked like back when it was actually nice.
Unless he's talking about the East Washington project that
No, he's talking about Springfield Road.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, well, I just understood the whole thing all wrong. I mean, I was completely off base, but when I drove down through there, I thought, my God, I think you said the cost was going to be $27 million or something.
No, it's 12.2, and that includes the water and sewer main.
Okay, but I thought, that's an awful lot.
Had
of
we
money.
added sidewalks, you're probably looking at every bit of that. Sidewalks alone, I think we looked at that. It was going to be like $10 million or something ridiculous. So, yeah. Nope.
Okay,
All right.
sorry I took so much of your time.
No, you're good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. I'm seeing no one else out there. Comments from the council? Commissioner Decker.
Yes, Mayor. First of all, a couple quick things. With the panhandling thing is a tough one. I've always been happy with East Peoria, and we don't seem to have as many. And I know that's a tough thing for our officers. Puts them in a bad situation, but I think officer engagement is important, and I think that's why, as engaged as our officers are in town, maybe why we don't see as much. Having said that, I've had a few complaints recently about different things of what you're talking about, the junk left around, also junk in people's yards, and I know our code enforcement department does what they can. Sometimes they're bound by the law. They try to do something, and the person will get better for a while, and then just as soon as whatever time frame goes by, they create another eyesore, but they're just at a bad point. Our code enforcement doesn't have the legal authority to do much. And I've talked with the mayor about this in the past and others. I think that it's hard to hire people right now, but I would support in the future trying to hire more code enforcement people, just because we do have a lot of complaints out there, and it would be, they're spread thin. I mean, he has a lot of work to do, but doing what they can. I want to mention Springfield Road, though. We had recently on Eastside Community Television did a segment where we talked about the Springfield Road project and what that was going to mean, the time frame and everything about, it's going to be November before it's done. And it is a huge project. And one thing in the video that myself and Pat Meyer and Rick Simonsky all talked about was asking the public to have a lot of patience with us, because it is going to be a process. Everybody's happy it's being done, but we knew as time went on, the tempers would flare up and people would be upset with just seems to be going slow. It is on schedule, I believe. They're doing what they should, and I will say Public Works Department is watching all the time about what's being done and what's not being done, and they're making the necessary notifications when they need to. But I've seen some comments recently talking about different problems, and one thing that holds true, and I've 4 or 5 people that I've seen comment to it about hoping that people would follow the speed. There are a lot of potholes and things that have been created, and people have complained that they've hit those potholes with their tires. However, I think the speed limit right now is listed at 20 miles per hour, if I'm not mistaken. Now that's hard to do. It's hard to go 20 miles per hour through on a road that is that long. But with the construction process the way that it is, it's necessary, if nothing else, to take care of your car. If everybody drives the speed that they should, it's going to be slow, but it'll be safe, and there won't be damage created to the vehicle. I saw a video this week that was posted, a man or woman driving in front of another person, and the video showed that the truck was swerving, looked like intentionally, to knock over the cones that were in place on Springfield Road. So these are some of the things that Public Works has to deal with, and I think Autobahn right now is dealing with, working as the construction company. But we will do our best to get it done as quickly as possible. Again, I ask for patience from people. If you do see anything wrong, please report it. Give the Public Works a call, Police Department a call, and let them know if somebody is doing something they should not do. And please drive what the posted speed is at the construction speed, just to make sure that you're safe. Finally, it was, I mentioned it last council meeting, but the press release has gone out now. The Vietnam Wall is coming back to East Peoria. It will be right here to my right, and it will arrive on September 25th, and that's a Wednesday. We're going to have an opening ceremony on the next day, the 26th. It'll be a really nice event, and it will be here through that following Sunday, September 29th. But if we are looking forward to it. We need a lot of help. So the links are out there. If anybody's not sure, please get a hold of me, and I can help you get signed up for assistance. If you want to make a donation, same thing. All donations are going to go through our community foundation. So they are tax deductible, and I hope it's going to be a really nice event. So that's it, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hill.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear Commissioner Decker supports code enforcement, because we don't always get the support we need. But one of the things I want to mention, he mentioned hiring more code enforcement officers, and that's under me. And personally, I don't think we need any more, truthfully. I don't think the issues we have in our community are due to the lack of code enforcement. The person that we have one now, full-time, full-time year-round, and there's ample amount of work to be done. There are constraints, there are processes that we follow. For example, anytime that we might, I always use the word tag a house or tag some issue, there's a 7-day process for the resident to respond. So there's time delays in the process, and ordinances and our laws. So I don't think it's a shortage of code enforcement officers that lead us to have the issues that we have. I think the mayor and Bob mentioned both. There's some self-accountability that drives. I mean, when you decide that you don't have an easy place to throw a mattress, what's the easy thing to do? Go to an alley and dump it on somebody else. Right. And, so with that being said, I think one of the things I've been chartered to our code enforcement officers is to focus more so than in the past to work with our residents to resolve it, to come into compliance. We've always said that we try that first, and we do. And then there's some cases that we can't, and then there's a judicial process that we go through. So glad to hear it. So the other two things, I got two more things. Beautification Commission, the Paul Peterson Bright Spot Award. The June awards, their deadline is fast approaching, Monday, June 10th, and you can go out to the East Peoria, City of East Peoria.com website and go down under the community programs and find out information and nomination forms if you have a neighbor that is so worthy of that nomination, and find out more information. The only other thing is it's a great week. The startup of the farmers market starts this Friday. We may start slow, but we'll be mighty. We have more room. I've got more calls than I can respond to this week as far as people wanting information. So bear with us, but we'll be down here starting June 7th, 4 to 7, from now until the last Friday in August. So come out. We have entertainment during that time, and we'll have an influx of vendors from week to week. It depends. Sometimes the local festivals take some of the vendors out, so we might be a low week. So come down every week, hear some music, sit around, chit-chat, see your neighbors, and maybe you'll even find something you want to buy.
Good.
That note?
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Sutherland, some small book down there, I see.
No, not tonight.
Okay.
I want to start out by saying that most all of the residents of East Peoria are going to be getting a letter in the mail that pays to whomever pays the water bill. We missed a sampling testing deadline, the line of custody on our samples, and there's nothing at all wrong with the water, but the EPA made us send a letter out saying that we missed our sampling test. We have to sample every day, and we missed a day. So you'll be seeing it in the mail. It has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of water. It has to do with the line of custody that we have on our sampling kits. My next subject is there is a place on the East Peoria governmental website on how to get your extra meter for those that are doing pools and watering lawns and gardens. I'm probably not going to announce that much more because people are filling their pools up as I speak and watering their gardens and their lawn to get them bedded in. So just check it out. It'll cost you some money, but it will save you money. You'll get your money back the first time you fill your pool up by the average pool, I believe. The next thing I want to go to is Springfield Road construction job. Autobahn is doing the curbs, and right now, Autobahn company is doing the curbs. Ameren is taking care of their subcontractor in front of Lincoln School heading south now, and the water department has hired 2 contractors to put the water main in, and everything is going extremely well. And there's been complaint about the plates, the steel plates that cover. Rain cannot move those steel plates, or a storm. That is why 20 miles an hour on that road is essential. I don't care if the barricades are moved off to the side or not. If you go more than 20 miles an hour, you're going to move the barricades a little bit of 64th of an inch at a time until 200 or 300 cars run over, and it will fall in, and it will cause somebody's car to get hurt, flat tires, etc. So whether the barricades are out of the way or not, 20 miles an hour, and I know it's hard. I drove it this morning and I got up to 25, and I cussed myself out because I was trying to watch my speed and watch all the barricades at the same time. It's very difficult. So if you do see somebody speeding, of course, but in this case it's going to affect everybody, or you see a plate that's out of position and you're worried about it, call the non-emergency East Peoria hotline, which is 698-4700, and just give the address of where it's at, and whether the contractor has somebody available or the city has somebody available, somebody will be available. I'm done.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland. Commissioner Megan.
Yeah, two things, Your Honor. The first one, I wasn't going to bring it up. I kind of forgot about it until we started talking about like yard waste or dumping or whatever. I don't know if there is a solution to it. I was in a similar situation this 2 weeks ago. I have a lot of trees on my property. I mean, they're not huge trees, but they're pretty big. And I started trimming them, and you start cutting branches. You cut one branch, and I've got a pile. I mean, that would fit in the center probably of the floor there of just, it's yard waste. I mean, it's not, most of it's probably too big to put in the bags and pay the $400 for waste management to come, and I only do it probably once a year outside of the normal burning time. And I caught myself because I'm like, well, where can I dump this? That was like, where can I dump all these branches? When I was younger, not in this position, and probably I would have found somewhere to dump it. That's not the right thing to do, though. I also can't burn, knowing that that's a problem, because we have certain months that you can burn. So I am in a very similar predicament where I have yard waste that probably can't go in a bag. That's, if I follow the rules, is going to sit in my backyard. I'm going to have an unhappy wife, which I currently do because I've got it sitting in my backyard until we allow burning in November. And we don't pick up yard waste in the city of East Peoria. So I don't know if there is I would be willing to pay a permit fee. Give me a week where I pay $50 and I have a week's to burn my yard waste, what's left of it. So I don't know if that's an option for people that are in a similar situation, because if I was thinking it and I was in that I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, then I'm assuming there are other people who are probably doing their regular maintenance around their house, just trying to make their lot look good. Not that I'm going to be put up for any beautification award anytime soon, but trying to make my lot look good, my house look good, my trees trimmed, trim it all up. But now I can't do anything with it until November. So I don't know if that's an option. Like, hey, go down to City Hall, pay $50 for a burning permit. You got a week to burn your stuff. We monitor who's doing it. People are doing it illegally every day. Also, I mean,
There's a burn permit, but I don't know the details. I mean,
is there?
It's
It comes to the fire department.
Yeah.
It's a $25 fee. They primarily want it to be only for like clearing property. That's what we would always ask people. You know, if it's for construction purpose, clearing property. Otherwise, we'd always try to talk people into, if you can, hold off till November. There are times, and it's really dependent on the chief at the time, and I know Bobby is sympathetic to people, and it's an approval process. They go out, they take a look at the site to make sure that it's going to be safe, make sure that you're going to have a water source, and you're going to be able to take care of it.
Well, see, I should have probably known that. That's a good thing. I'm glad I brought it up now.
Yeah,
Have
we've
the
had
solution
that in
for
place for a number of years.
Well, back in the day, I used to, he's gone. He's left Mother Earth now. Milo Turbot. I don't know who all knows him, but he had a tree service, and he was from Richland area. And I would just call him up and say, hey, come over here with your grinder, your branch grinder. And he'd charge me $30-40 back in the day, and I'd have a hell of a pile, and he'd move on. And so there's people out there. You just got to find them. Okay?
Yeah, no, I'm glad I brought it up, because that's a perfect solution that we already have in place. The other thing is, fire department has car seat checks tomorrow down here at Central House from 1 to 4. Anybody who wants to get their car seat check can bring their car seat and their car down there, and they'll check it out.
Hey, keep those little crumb crunchers safe, I've always said. All right, just want to recognize a couple people tonight. One, we lost, a longtime resident, Frank Bohr. Not sure if anyone else up here knows Frank, but actually grew up with his son here in East Peoria, Scott. And anyway, Frank passed away on May 21st. His services were last week. He was just shy of his 84th birthday, but he and his wife founded Liberty Termite and Pest Control here in East Peoria back in '79, and they retired in the mid-2000s, I believe, and daughter and son-in-law took it over, and now they've just recently retired. But Frank was very active, long-time resident of East Peoria. it was interesting talking to some folks in the procession line, because one gentleman worked for him in his first job, which was Peoria Park District, I learned Frank never changed in all those years. So the Frank he knew is the Frank I knew. Wore everything on the sleeve. You always knew where you stood with them, but just had a passion and a love for East Peoria. He actually served as the co-chair of Festival of Lights for years, and I didn't realize how involved he and Jan got their kids in the festival, but Scott had shared with me, he comes back every year for a chamber golf outing, and he said, yeah, actually, I proposed to my wife on that trolley that the council rides. But that's what the festival meant to them and their family. So we're going to sincerely miss Frank. He was also very active in the East Peoria Historical Society, and that's when our youngest kids actually met Frank at an ice cream social, and they were fascinated by all these historical pictures. And Frank sat down and decided to give them an education. And boy, did they get an education with no filter. But man, I love the guy. And the last time I got to go visit him, his family graciously allowed me to go pay him a visit. And you had to know Frank, but I walked in there and he had been on hospice for quite some time. And I said, Frank, what are you doing? What are you up to? And he goes, what's it look like, man? I'm trying to die. And but that was him. And just he's going to be sorely missed, but. Just keep the family in your thoughts and prayers, and he sure meant a lot to this community and really contributed a lot throughout his lifetime. So we'll sure miss him. And then on the flip side of that, had a little celebration in East Peoria yesterday for a young lady named Verla Johnson, and she's a longtime East Peoria resident, and she turned 100 years old yesterday. So her family came in from different states, and her neighbors and everything gave her a little celebration. So I just want to give her a shout out. 100 years old. I said, well, that's quite the accomplishment. She's like, accomplishment? I'm like, well, not everyone makes it to 100. So yeah, hats off to her, but happy birthday, Verla, and hopefully she's got many more in the pipeline. And that's about all I have. So I'd seek a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn until Tuesday evening, June 18th, 2024 at 6 p.m.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Any discussion? I'm hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. We are adjourned until we meet again.